In this tutorial, you're going to learn exactly how to use Zoom from start to finish. And in the comment section, there are timestamps in case you need to skip to specific parts of this video. So let's dive right in.
Loads of people asking me about Zoom, and loads of people asking me, Russell, I'm having problems with this, I'm having problems with that. So I've created an introduction to Zoom, but where I try to show you the typical things that go wrong. Now, I've been watching some of the videos on YouTube channels, and some of them are excellent. They really do a good job of explaining Zoom, but they don't tell you some of the obvious things that you won't realize unless someone explains it to you. For example, when you open up the chat window and begin to chat, that doesn't mean to say that the chat window is opened on the student screen. They would have to click on chat as well to open up their chat to chat with you. Now, other systems don't work like that. In other words, if you change something, the students also see it, but not Zoom. So that is a problem sometimes. However, there are other things about Zoom that are really good. The screen share function in Zoom is excellent. So what I'm going to do in these videos is take you through the basics, get you started up, share your link, get the students logged in, get you to understand the basic layout, and then I'm going to go into detail on some of the important things. That is screen sharing, that is video sharing, that is the way that the layout and the chat works, etc., how you can control the audio. There's a couple of really important things, and to do this I'm actually going to do a few of the parts with someone else as well on screen, so we can actually kind of see a double interaction. Now, you will need to create an account in Zoom. Your students don't need an account. You will simply send them a link and they will be able to join your webinar. One thing is, I'm just going to, if you click over and have a quick look at the pricing, just to make it clear, from what I understand, and it does seem that occasionally they change these things, but currently, if you're working in a one-to-one situation, then you are not limited. You can actually just practice for as long as you like, and I've been practicing with this for hours and hours in the free version to really understand how it works. If you're working with bigger groups of between 3 and 8 students, you are limited to only 45 minutes. But the free plan can be a good way to start because you can at least practice and make sure that you know how to work with Zoom. So I've got an account, so I'm just going to jump over to my account so we can actually start now to create straight away our first actual Zoom. And to do that, all I need to do, I'm going to click on my account, is click on schedule a meeting. That's the easiest way to do it. Schedule a meeting, and we're going to create a meeting and get someone in the class quickly. So I'm just going to write in a quick meeting with Keith. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to meet up with a friend of mine in a minute and go through a lesson with him so that we've got both the teacher view and the student view. I don't need to put anything else. The only thing I need to do is choose the date, choose the time, which you can do that from here. Decide how long it's going to be. So for example, whether you're going to do it for 1 or 2 hours. Make sure that you've got the right time zone for you. And a couple of little tips now to really help you with this. If you come down here, my tip to you is set it so host, that's the person that's actually setting up the Zoom, is on video, but that the participants aren't. If you've got 10, 15, 20 students in a class and they've all got their webcams on, this is really going to slow down the quality of the Zoom. So my tip to you is not to do that. You can turn on their audio, their videos at a later stage anyway. So I always start with the videos off. Here you want both. I very much doubt if any of your students are going to telephone in, but that would mean that actually they can use both telephone and computer for the audio. Come down to the bottom here, a couple of other things to keep in mind. This can be useful as well. Mute participants on entry. Why? Well, because if you've got 20 students all coming in and suddenly they are all chatting, then that's going to create a lot of noise. You really can only have one person talking at a time when you're working with a kind of webinar online classroom. So my tip for you would be to choose that and then to click on save. Now, once you've clicked on save, there's a couple of really useful things. First of all, here is the link to the actual webinar, and you just simply send that to your students. But one thing that Zoom does that's really helpful is they create this really simple invitation, and I can literally copy the top part of that invitation, because I know that my friend is going to connect on a link, and just copy that and email it or paste it into a website or wherever you want. People know that they click on that button and they can join your webinar. So I've just sent an invitation to my friend. I've just emailed him that invitation, so I know that any minute now he's going to click and join. So let's start the meeting, and to start the meeting we click here. Just click on Start Meeting. Now, Zoom does require a little plugin, and so you do need to download the plugin onto your computer. Once you've got it, you should see this button here, which is going to open up Zoom. If you haven't got the plugin, you will need to download it for the first time, download and run the plugin. Once you've got it on your computer, you've got it forever, hopefully, and therefore you'll just simply be able to start your Zooms by clicking here. So I'm going to do that, and it's going to bring me into a little window where it's going to ask me, first of all, to check my sound. First of all, click on this button and test that your sound is working. So you can do this by just, do you hear a ringtone? Okay. And the second one, you can say yes. And then the second one, in fact, I'm going to change that and use this one here. So let's, yeah, that's okay. And then I'm going to say hello, 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 hello. And yes, it's working. So I'm going to click on yes. So now I'm ready now. Okay. And this is the important thing. Once you've said yes to those, you then need to click on this button, Join with Computer Audio. This will come up on the screen. Join, and make sure you click on that, because it's that actually activates both your audio for hearing and for the speaking. So click on that button and you should be started, okay? And hopefully come into the room. Okay, we're on Zoom now, and I'm sorry that you've got a ginormous face of me presenting to you, and in fact I can turn that off. So what you can see here, the important thing is when you roll your cursor over, you'll see that the controls, most of the controls are at the bottom, and I'm going to point out a couple of really important things. First of all, you're going to want to open up the chat window. Click on this button, and that's going to open up the chat to the right hand side. Obviously that's going to be one of the quick ways that you can communicate with your students. So I'm just going to click on that button now. And you can see now it's opened up the chat window here on the right hand side. So you can close that. If you click on it again, it's going to close, but open it up and you can say hello, and anyone that's joining your room will be able to see that. So that's the first thing. Now the second thing is you have actually got control of your video, and just for a minute I'm going to turn the video off. If I come over here to the right hand side, then if I click here, you'll notice that I can click on stop video, but I can also restart the video at any time, okay, by clicking here. Now let's go through some of the most important settings. Now another button that people get confused about is this button here. Again, rolling down. Make sure that you click here, because it's going to show you when participants join the room. At the moment it's just me in the room, and we'll be talking about that in a minute, but in a minute you'll see that other people can join the room, and that's where I'll see that they join. Remember, you've sent an invitation out and all your students should be able to join the room, and as long as you've got that button turned on, you will see all of the people as they join, and here is where your chat will be, okay? Let's say that you've sent out your invitations, but you've forgot to send an invitation to someone and you've already got your room open. Is there any way you can quickly get the link to them? Well, actually, yes. If you come up to here on the left and click here, you can actually see the invitation URL, and you can even copy that. So you can be in the middle of a presentation and quickly jump out, open up your email and send the invitation to someone if you need to. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in on another account in another browser. I'm going to log in to my own Zoom. So I'm going to open up another browser and log in using that link, so that then we can start to see what the students see. Okay, so I'm now logged in as a student, and I want you to realize something. If you look here, first of all, obviously the teacher hasn't turned on the video, so we can't see the teacher. But also the chat room is not available, and this is one of the mistakes that a lot of teachers make, and it is one of the problems with Zoom. In other words, if you as a teacher open your chat window, that does not mean that the chat window is open to the students. The students would still need to click here to open up the chat window to make sure that the chat window is available to them. So they need to do that. And the same with the participants window. Okay, so now they can see themselves and they can see their teacher. This is a problem with Zoom. As I said, it's not necessarily my tool of choice, because there are certain things about it that I don't like. One of them is that you haven't got enough control over certain features. You might do something as the teacher and think your students can see it and they can't. So you need to explain to them that they need to click on both the participants window and the chat window as well to make sure that they can communicate with the students. Now in this case, now we've got both of the windows open. They can see themselves. I've called, the student is called Tom, and they can see the teacher here, and they can also chat by just clicking here at the bottom and say hello everyone, and that is sent to everybody in the room. Sorry, I spelled that wrong. Okay, so really important points. And when I've been doing some training this week, I've been doing quite a lot of individual training. Once I've learnt to use this technology, that was coming up as a problem. However, there are some really good features in Zoom in terms of teaching, and we're going to focus on those in a minute. Okay, so now we're going to start to go into the part where we're going to do some live sessions with teachers, so that you can kind of see what both the student can see and what the teacher can do. And we're going to start with me being the participant and my friend Keith being the presenter. We're going to talk about the audio first, because you can't have all your students speaking. You've got to think about what you're going to do to deal with that problem. You can get the students to raise their hands, and you can turn their audio on, and I'm going to take you through that and highlight how we can deal with it. So when you're working with the audio, you'll see the list of your students here, and the first thing is you can mute them all. If you haven't muted them before they come into the room, you can mute them all here, and then you can just roll over a participant and you can either turn on or off their audio. So that way you can say to a student when you want them to speak. So they can either do that in the chat window, or they can raise their hand, and by doing that they are able then, or you're able to say, right, okay, I'm going to turn on the audio and you can now speak, because you can't have all the students speaking at the same time. Let's actually see Keith doing that with me.
Turn you on from here, or I can turn you off.
Right, do you want to try that?
Turn off your audio,
yeah.
So if I want to turn off your audio, I can do that.
Right, so that's interesting for me to know this end.
Right, so now I'm not hearing you, but I'm going to just re-turn you on again. Here we go. There you go, back again.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's really interesting, that facility. So let's have a. So we talked a little bit about the things on the left-hand side. Now there's a couple more. Can you turn? At the moment, you can see me on the webcam. Do you have the control to get rid of my ugly face?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. I'm going to turn you off and then turn you back on again. Hang on a sec. Let's have a look. So that will go. Right. In terms of the video, what I've got up here is that I can, if you put up your hand, I can put your hand down.
Yeah.
I can silence you. In terms of the video, under the other menu, I can stop your video. Let's have a look. There you go. Yeah. Then you're just as a name. So if you're putting funny faces, I can turn you off if you're putting me off. And then let's just see if we can.
Can you turn the video back on again?
Yeah, I'm just having a look for. There we go.
Okay, and then I need to click on the. So that's interesting, Keith. When you stopped me, right, and then I needed to, and then you set me up to start again. I had to click on Start Video to actually start that process.
Yeah.
So, okay, going to come to one of the most important things now, and that's the ability to screen share. And the way that screen share works, and this is really, if you're a teacher, this is perhaps the most important thing. I'll give you a couple of examples why. First of all, if you want to play a video to your students, you can open up the video onto your computer screen share through Zoom, and then you need to click on one button to make sure that the students can also hear it, and then you can play the video, you can watch the video, and they are also seeing the video. And once you finish, you just stop screen sharing, it comes back to normal. So if you want them perhaps to listen to a video and then to discuss questions, the good thing with the screen share is one of the good things in Zoom, you've got control. So when you pause it, it's pause for them as well. Not all screen sharing tools work like that. Now, when you do screen share, it doesn't just have to be a video. I could screen share, for example, an exercise. So I could open an exercise onto the screen of my computer, screen share it so the students can see it. And actually, I can even mark that exercise. I can underline things on that exercise. So to screen share, I won't obviously play my video while I'm doing this, just to make it absolutely clear. You come down to this button here, click on screen share, and what you need to do is you need to choose which of the windows you want to screen share. So I'm going to screen share this tab because I want to play this video, but make sure that you click on this button here, okay? Because if you click on that button, it will make sure that the audio plays for your students. Then click on the share button, the video will open, you're now sharing the screen, and you can click on the video.
Somber language, heralding state interventions, unprecedented.
When you stop, it stops for them as well. You've got control. This is actually one of the really good features about working with Zoom. And then when you've finished, you click on stop. And now you're back out of screen share. That's the way screen share works. But I want to just take you through a few more things. Let's talk about some other ways that you can use screen share. Okay, so let's look at another option. This could be with a document, it could be with a picture. Again, I'm just trying to make the point that you can screen share anything. So I'm going to screen share a PowerPoint slide, and I'm going to click on share and open that onto the screen. The students will be able to see this now, but if I come up to the top here and click over on a note, I can even choose to be able to draw on that screen, so I can mark things as I'm talking about them, and that can be quite useful. Okay, now a little tip. If you're on this screen, for example, and then you click on here and you want to move to the next screen, so let's say I move back to this one, you'll notice that the drawing's still on the screen. So while you're on that screen, make sure you come over to clear, click on clear all drawings, and then move to your next screen. And then of course the drawings will be clicked out the way. I hope that video was useful. Please come to teachertrainingvideos.com, lots of more free videos, and I've done a special section for teaching online, and then there's lots of technologies along here that you can.
In this video, what I want to show you is how to use Zoom Meeting to host a meeting where you're using your camera from your computer or your phone, and you're also screen sharing with your iPad at the same time. So the first thing you need to do is you actually need to go to the Zoom website and download and install Zoom. So you go to zoom.us, go there. You can just sign up. It's free. It says there's a button in the header of the website, so just click on that and get started. Ideally, sign up with like Google or Facebook, so you don't need to remember the password. It's totally free to get started, and they'll walk you through the process of installing Zoom and then signing in. So make sure you do that before jumping into the next steps. Okay, now that you've got Zoom installed on your computer, what you want to do is just open up the program, sign in, and then start the meeting. So I'm going to click on Start with Video. And then I'll join with computer audio, unmute myself, and just turn on my video as well. All right, and I can see at the top of the screen there, it's got the Zoom meeting ID. So this is the meeting ID at the top in this section. Okay, so you've got the meeting running on your computer. So now you want to be able to connect your iPad. So you have to actually install the Zoom application first. So make sure you go to the App Store and install that, and then sign in with your account. Find Zoom in your apps, and then we want to join a meeting, and then you want to enter in the meeting ID that shows on your computer. So I'm going to enter that in, and then in the join options, I always select do not connect to audio and turn off my video, because I don't want it to show both of those at the same time because it'll get weird. And then I'll click on join. All right, so right now the iPad is joined to the meeting as if it's another attendee. So now what we want to do is actually swipe down from the top right, and then there's a little record button. So because Zoom is installed, I can press down on that and hold it for a bit, and then Zoom comes up as an option where I can actually start broadcasting. So I'm going to click on Start Broadcast. It just counts down from 3. And now it's actually sharing my screen straight into Zoom. So I'm going to move over to Notability, which is my coloring in app of choice. If I'm going to be critiquing website designs or any kind of design, or sharing something and explaining something in like a model or a drawing with my clients, I use Notability because it's awesome. So you can come in here, and what you share here, you could be drawing like a mock-up of a landing page. Let's say, big headline, Cool. You can draw that for your clients, and they can actually be watching that happening live, or they can also see your face at the same time. Now you can record these via Zoom, which is awesome, and you can send this directly to your clients afterwards. Make it for a great meeting with notes that you can review, and your clients can review the work that you've been talking about. It's basically the same thing. So to connect with your phone is basically the same thing. I really like doing it this way without having my computer with me, because when I'm traveling, I don't always have my laptop with me, especially when I'm out and about. It's just not quite as portable, and it's a lot more expensive, so I don't like to always have it in my backpack. But having my phone and having my iPad, I can basically run meetings the way that I need to for this kind of purpose without needing to use my MacBook. So I really like this process. As you can see here, I have a very, very basic tripod. I like to put the tripod up as high as it can to like eye level, as close to eye level as I possibly can, which usually means I'm in a hotel or I'm somewhere where I'm just looking for chairs and boxes and all sorts of stuff to put underneath my my portable tripod, just so it goes up a little bit higher. Otherwise, they're looking up your nose, and that's a little bit weird. So again, you want to install Zoom on your phone, and this one needs to unlock with my face. There we go. Okay, so I just want to open up the Zoom app, and then I'm going to start a new meeting. I'm going to turn the video on and use my personal meeting ID. All right, and then again, from my iPad, what I want to do is open up Zoom, join a meeting, put in the meeting ID. And again, I don't want to connect to audio, and I want to turn off my video. And then it's just basically following the same process. So now that I'm connected, I want to swipe down from the top right, hold on to the record button, click start broadcast. And now I'm ready to go, and that is screen sharing to Zoom. And now we can share with them the design that we're putting together. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole process. Really, what you need to do now is you need to go to zoom.us, sign up for a free account, download all the apps, and ideally you want to test this before you have one of your client meetings, because there are a couple of steps and some things tend to go wrong, and you want to make sure the camera's in the right space. So test this first, just with your desktop and your iPad, and just make sure it's all working before you're doing this on an actual client meeting.